As a lot of you may know, I do a lot of thrifting on this channel, and in 2019 I really kind of dove headfirst into thrifting. It was something that I did kind of in the second half of 2018, and then 2019 I made an amazing group of friends in the YouTube thrifting community. We became really close. We started thrifting together. I became a lot more interested in the topic of sustainable fashion and just making more ethical choices, trying to incorporate more things into my wardrobe that are secondhand if possible, if not sustainably made or sourced. And although, as I've talked about on my channel before, there is still room to grow in the thrifting and secondhand world as far as size availability goes, I do try to thrift as much as possible. It's also just something that I've taken on as kind of like a passion and a hobby that I really love doing so much. There is a YouTuber by the name of Alexandria Ryan whose video got recommended to me. She makes subscription box based videos, and she did a video where she talked about how much she spent on subscription box services in 2019, and I thought this was such a brilliant idea, so all of the credit for this idea goes to her. And so I thought that it would be a really interesting topic and discussion to have focused around what I spent on thrifting in 2019. I was a little nervous about this, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay, I don't actually know how much I spent, because obviously my spending is going to be a little bit more because thrifting is part of my actual job. I am always trying to be more mindful of consumerism, and I'm going to continue to try and make as many changes in that department as possible. But if I did not make fashion videos at the moment, I really wouldn't have a job. That is kind of the basis of my job. So I am going to go video by video in 2019, show you how much I spent, how many items I bought, and hopefully we can just, you know, have a little discussion about it, have some little analytic fun. Said me never. So before I second guess and regret doing this and opening myself up to even more criticism and judgment from strangers on the internet, let's jump in. So as a quick recap, I filmed 28 thrifting videos in the year of 2019. One of those videos was a sponsored video, so they actually funded my shopping spree on that trip. So I didn't include that in this video. This is literally what I spent with my own money for the total of 2019. So we'll just say that I did 27 thrifting videos in total in 2019. The first video was in January, where I went to the Jet Rag $1 parking lot sale with my friend Alexa Sunshine 83. I love her so much. This was such a unique experience that I'm really glad that we did together. So if you haven't heard of it, basically there is a thrift store in California that does a really unique parking lot sale in which they put their used clothes out in the parking lot in piles. You dig through these piles of clothes, and every single item that you find is $1, whether that's overalls, a t-shirt, a sweater. There were like bandanas and baby outfits and all different kinds of stuff. Everything is $1. And so we brought our cash, and all in all, I ended up getting 10 items, so they were $1 each, so I spent $10 total. That's definitely the best deal I've gotten thus far in my thrifting experience. The next video, I went vintage shopping with my good friend Leah Prips, or Leah's Life on YouTube. This was kind of the beginning of us filming together. It was so much fun, and we walked up and down the shops in Melrose. I actually ended up only getting 2 things on that day, but they're both still on this rack behind me. I got this little vest right here, boop boop. And I also got my black denim jacket, and those are 2 of my favorite denim items. I'm going to have them forever, and that's the thing about vintage shopping is like, yeah, you're gonna spend a lot more money, but these are items that are gonna last you like literally forever. So in that video, I got 2 items and I spent $46 on the 2 of them. I'm glad that I spent the money on it and invested in 2 nice pieces, because I happen to think it was a good deal and a good investment. Now the next video, I went thrifting in not necessarily a thrifted setting, but it is secondhand items. It's the Rose Bowl flea market. It was my very first time going, and I went again with my friend Alexa. The thing about vintage shopping or flea market shopping in Los Angeles is basically, I've said this in many videos before, but it's essentially getting all of the good curated stuff from your local Goodwill and Savers and thrift stores, and then people resell it for a profit. So you're knowing that it's gonna cost you a little bit more, but it's gonna be better stuff when you dig through the racks. So at that haul, I ended up spending $78, which is pretty hefty. I think that might be my most expensive thrifting day, besides one other video that I'll get into, and I got 5 items for that price. Next, I did a fun trend that I had been seeing everywhere on YouTube, and it was thrifting Urban Outfitters dupes, and it was $27 that I spent in that video, and I got 8 items. I would say that's a really good haul. I'm pretty sure Drew ended up getting some items as well. That was on a Savers 50% off sale day, and I remember like scoring big. I don't know how many of those items I have anymore, but I think I do have a good decent amount. Next, I went to the worst rated thrift store in our area with my friend Alexa again, and we went to a thrift store in Orange County, and it was one of the nicest Goodwills I've ever been to. A plot twist I wasn't expecting. And I had really good luck that day. I think I walked away with, how many did I get? I got 7 items on that day, which is pretty good. And I did spend $53, but the Goodwills in California are a lot more expensive than the ones in Arizona. And it wasn't a sale day or anything like that. I think it's a pretty good deal. Next, Alexa and I drove to San Diego and did the Ugly Thrift Store Challenge, which actually, we didn't end up buying any of the ugly clothes, but we did find some good vintage tees while we were there. And so I ended up spending $39 on 3 items. So what, like $13 an item or something like that? Not terrible for some good vintage shirts. So to me, it was definitely worth it. Next, my friend Alexa, as well as our YouTube friend Jazzy Bum on YouTube, we went to London. We went to London for a week. We spent a week with our friend Jasmine, and we did quite a bit of thrifting and just shopping in general while we were there. So we did go to some vintage shops in London on one of the days that we were in town. I only ended up picking 4 items that were kind of like the vintage thrift centered type of style, and they were quite a bit more expensive, especially because they were in British pounds. So I ended up spending $90 on 4 different items. But thrifting in London actually proved itself to be quite difficult, at least when we went, and with the research that we had done. Vintage shopping was kind of like more what we were able to do, and it was a little bit more pricey, but it had better stuff. Next, I did another good old, just like plain old-fashioned 50% off Savers sale. One day I just was like, I want to go to the Savers sale, so I did. I ended up spending $80, but I did get 9 items on that day, so I think that's a pretty good deal. Less than $10 per item, which if you go to the mall or just go anywhere rather and look for 9 items in a row that are all $10 or less, I mean, I think that that's a pretty good steal. And then the next video that I did was the Goodwill $1 sale, which I always try my very best to go to Goodwill $1 sales and only buy the $1 items, but you inevitably always find items with other color tags on them, and then you end up buying them. So in this video, I got 6 items for $19, which is incredible. I must have found a decent amount of $1 items on that day. Next, we went to Palm Springs. I was in Palm Springs for a YouTube convention with my friend Leah, and we went thrifting in Palm Springs and wanted to see kind of what the scene was like. And I ended up finding so many good 90s gems. I spent $38 and I ended up getting 8 items, which is really, really, really good. The girls and I are actually considering taking a Palm Springs trip again this year and going thrifting together. So you guys will have to let me know if you would want to see that from us, because it was such good thrifting. I can't wait to go back. Next, I did a thrift swap with Leah, where basically we purchased each other items for a $30 budget. I believe I went $3 over and spent $33. We gave each other wish lists and we thrifted items from those wish lists for each other for the $30 budget. I ended up getting her 8 items for that $33. That was a good video. Okay, this next video I'm not proud of, okay? I'm really not. This is probably the video that I will never live down for the rest of my life, because it's something that gets brought up and thrown in my face all the time, and that is the time that I spent $100 on 2 t-shirts, both of which are still sitting right behind me here on this clothing rack. I love them both. They're incredible vintage tees that I truly will never get rid of, but I spent way too much money on them. Oh, and I forgot to mention what the video was. I went thrifting in LA with my girls, with the Thrift Queens. It was actually our first time, all 4 of us, getting together and shopping together. So we went to a few vintage / thrift stores on Melrose in Los Angeles. I ended up spending a grand total of $211 that day. I got 9 items. I mean, you're welcome to judge me, that's fine. Then a little while later, I went back to the Rose Bowl for the second time with all 4 of us thrift gals, and on that day I spent $95, but I did get 9 items. So again, pretty good. Averages out, it's like some of the items were $25, some of them were $7, some of them were $5, but it ended up averaging out to about $10 an item, which I thought was pretty good. Next, I went to my local Goodwill when I was still living in Phoenix on National Thrift Shop Day. I felt like I had to go thrifting on National Thrift Shop Day. I felt like I'd be doing a disservice to the thrifting community, the thrifting people who watch my channel, if I did not try and thrift on National Thrift Shop Day. I ended up spending $19 and I only got 3 items on that day, and you you don't have to always get like a massive haul, and that's something that I got a lot more comfortable with as the year went on, but it was just wild because I couldn't really find much stuff that I loved that day, but I'm still really glad I filmed it, and the stuff that I did find, I still love now. The next thrifting video, which was so exciting because it was my first thrifting video as an LA resident. I had moved here, I was all excited to go thrifting. Little did I know that the thrifting scene can be kind of sketch in LA, but if you go outside of LA, it's pretty good. So this one in particular, I went to a couple different thrift stores with Leah and Alexa. I spent $68, but I did get 7 items. So I think that's pretty good, in my opinion, if you ask me. Then shortly after that, the girls and I planned a trip to Hawaii. It was one of the highlights of my 2019. It was one of the best trips of my entire life that I've ever taken. It was just so much joy, so much laughter, and we kicked off the trip with a bang. We went thrifting together, and I ended up spending on that trip $39 on 6 items. If you guys watch my vlogs or Leah's channel, you'll know that that was also the video where Leah had her phone stolen right in the middle of the thrift store. But it was such a fun experience and something that we look back and laugh on, so I was really, really glad we did that. Thrifting in Hawaii was awesome. I can't wait to go back and do it. Then next, I went to the Goodwill bins for the very first time, which I had always been wanting to do. Leah and Alexa had gone previously, and they invited me the second time to go with them, so we went to the ones in Orange County, and actually we were asked to leave during that video. They told us not to film, and we were trying to be discreet about it, and they caught us, and we were asked to leave. So luckily we were able to purchase our items before we left. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Goodwill bins or the Goodwill outlets, it's essentially, I don't want to say leftover clothes because it's not. Sometimes it's items with tags still on them, but it's just clothes that they end up throwing in a bin, and they weigh the clothes by the pound instead of making you pay per item. So in that video, I ended up getting 12 items, which is so much, and I spent $35. I was able to resell a lot of those items. I gave Drew like so many of those things. I still wear a lot of them. Actually, this sweater is one of them that I found, and this is a Guess sweater. I just love that part about that. Next, I went to St. Vincent de Paul, which is the largest thrift store in LA. I went with my friend Macy Eleni here on YouTube. I became friends with her last year as well, and during that particular video, I spent $21 on 5 items, so definitely a steal. I loved that day. Next, I went thrifting with Drew here in LA. It was kind of like I took my boyfriend thrifting type of video. We spent $56 on 13 items. We got a lot of stuff between the two of us. It was obviously a thrifting video for me and for him. That's a really happy memory for me as far as thrifting goes in 2019. One of my favorite thrifting trips. And then next, I did another thrift swap with my friend Leah on YouTube, and we did a item limit this time. Whereas before, we felt like we were just kind of like buying as many items as we could with the budget to try and just get as many things as possible, but we ended up not keeping all of them. So what we did is limited it to 5 items. It was such a fun video. I want to do more of those in 2020. And on that video, I did spend $33 on those 5 items for her. And as far as I know, she's kept all of them, and I've kept all of the ones that she's gotten for me, with the exception of, I think, 1 item. Next, I went with my friend Macy Eleni again to some thrift and vintage shops in Burbank, California, where apparently the thrifting scene is very good. And so we popped around to a few vintage shops and were really kind of unable to find much of anything. That was not a very successful day as far as the shopping goes, but like hanging out and stuff, we had a great time. And in that video, I ended up getting 1 item. That was it. I got a Martha's Vineyard sweatshirt, which is still one of my favorite oversized crew necks, and I love it. I'm gonna have it forever. I paid $21 for it, which is kind of pricey for a used sweatshirt, but that's kind of what's to be expected when you thrift in LA, especially in vintage shops. Next, I went back to Arizona, which is my hometown. I was so excited to go back for Thanksgiving and just do some good old thrifting at my favorite ass thrift store, and that is Savers in North Scottsdale, in case you were wondering. In that video, I did pretty well. I got 6 items, 3 of which were Christmas sweaters for my friends, but I spent $26. That was really, really fun. The next video was a video that I just had a random idea for it with my friend Leah, and we basically picked a random town that we had never been to in LA, and we went shopping there. So we went to Sherman Oaks, which is kind of like a neighborhood in Los Angeles, and we went to a thrift store there. I ended up getting some stuff, but the thrifting experience was like kind of one of the worst we've ever had. Like, we had a great time together, the 2 of us, but for some reason the thrift store was just like not the best. So at that thrift store, I spent $39, kind of pricey, and I did get 6 items, all of which I still have, I love. But it was kind of interesting that that wasn't the best thrifting day, and that's something that I always make sure to note when I am experiencing that in thrifting videos, is basically being like, yeah, not every day is gonna be striking gold. Like, you're gonna have those weird days. Okay, the next one is I spent a lot of money on this day, okay? This was kind of a unique experience. It's a once in a year thing, and I went to a convention called ThriftCon with Leah, and it was in downtown LA. It was still a really cool experience, but it was very, very pricey. And so it was basically an indoor convention where they resold thrifted and vintage clothing. A lot of it was incredibly overpriced, but you were able to find really cute stuff as well. So at ThriftCon, I spent $107 total on 5 items. I found stuff that I'm going to, again, keep forever. So for me, it was kind of worth it. I loved it. Didn't love the actual convention that much itself, but we'll look forward to maybe trying it again next year and seeing, because I feel like sometimes it's worth it to pay a little extra to get those good vintage gems. You know what I mean? We have 3 videos left. Are you ready? The last 3 thrifting videos of 2019. Here we go. I went to the Goodwill bins again with Alexa and our new friend Stephanie Vega. She's a queen. I love her. She's a plus size YouTuber who I absolutely adore. We went back to the Goodwill bins for a second time and it was so much fun. We had such a great time and I ended up spending $24 only on 10 different items. I thought that was a screaming deal. Again, that's the place where they weigh the clothes by the pound. Next, I went to the Rose Bowl flea market, which was a little bit more pricey because this was for the Secret Santa thrift swap that I had with the girls. I was thrifting for Alexa, so I felt like I was thrifting for the thrift queen. I have got to get the good items. So I did go to the Rose Bowl for that. In that video, I bought her 4 items at the Rose Bowl because I already had an item that I thought would be perfect for her. So on those 4 items, I did spend $60. That's kind of a lot. But these are items that she has been wanting. They were on her wish list. She's gonna wear them forever. So I feel like it was a good investment and it felt really good to be able to get some presents for my friend that she was gonna really enjoy and that were sustainable and secondhand, which is like her bag. And last but not least, even though I posted this video on January 1st, I actually filmed it like right before Christmas time. So I went thrifting with Macy. I titled this video, I think, the best thrifting day I've ever had in LA, which it was. It was a treat, let me tell you. And on that day, I spent $40 on 5 items, so a really good deal in my opinion. And so that concludes the individual videos and items and prices and things that I got thrifting in 2019. But for the grand total of what I spent thrifting in 2019, it is, drum roll please, $1,447 between 27 videos. I don't know how to feel. That's kind of a lot of money on one hand, but on the other hand, it's definitely part of my job. Also, I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning, but basically I rounded these totals. So if it was $20.91, I rounded it up to $21, if that makes sense, just to try and keep it even. So I mean, give or take, it was about $1,440. That's crazy, but that is my truth. I'm living it. Here I am. I have nothing to hide. I'm an open book. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, maybe took something out of it. I don't know how to feel. So maybe I'm gonna sit here for a while, think about what I've done. I definitely think it could be worse, but it definitely could be better. I could strive for improvement this year. Let me know if you guys want me to do this video for 2020. I just think videos like this are really fascinating. So thank you again to Alexandria for the idea for this video. It was really fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share your thoughts down in the comments below. I don't know. Will I regret saying that? Yes, probably. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you with many more thrifting videos in 2020. Love you. Bye.